That's
bad.
what they want.
They can hear you.
Oh, they can hear us.
It's really bad.
Our banter sucks.
You said you wanted to hear the banter.
Oh, it's amazing.
Such banter, man. Sucks.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. So we've got some updates for you. While we were transitioning, I found out, number one, what we saw of Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima is what you saw of Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima. So there's nothing more to really say about them. So those are not. There's nothing new to say about them tonight. Also, Smash Brothers. We have more people going back, and the people that did play want to play more, want to give you better impressions. So we're gonna hold off on Smash Brothers until we've got a better, deeper dive on that.
If we have more viable people to discuss that, I will likely not be at the desk. I just want to say I competed in the name of Kyle Bossman. I took Kyle Bossman's slot, and I did not get in last place.
Nice.
Yes.
Who'd you pick?
Pikachu. I wanted to go Pichu. I asked Kyle.
Your head.
I said, "Who should I pick?" And he's like, "Pichu." Clearly, well, he's like, you should probably pick the, Ridley or Inkling.
Yeah.
And so I tried to do Pichu. Pichu was not there. I did Pikachu in this place, and then did Inkling and loved the Inkling.
Ooh.
Did you pick Pikachu Libre?
No, I just didn't.
I was going to ask that too.
Did you get any kills?
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Did Pikachu's Final Smash change? Is it still like the ball that's just a ping? Is it still like a... Did you get the Smash ball?
Let's start there.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Good
You're not gonna see this thing very well.
Because
no
just
matter what.
I like that a lot of I like that a lot of the Final Smashes change
Maybe.
just to be like boom, it's done. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. It's
Yeah,
like
so-
we're good.
Rotate like that.
All right.
Yeah, there we go.
I think it's a bad toy,
It's a little weird.
right?
I mean, most of these statues that they give out for collector's editions and stuff,
Bad face.
I'm never
Bad
into.
faces.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Why do we look at this
All right,
duct
they've
tape?
seen it. Get this duck to this.
I'm a bad toy.
Everybody that sees the demo gets one of these. This is the craziness of CD Projekt Red.
1054 shenanigans.
I'm a free little
You walk in to watch a demo for a game, you don't know whether you're gonna like it
That's
or not.
what I'm here for, Blood.
Here it
Please,
is.
don't let me wait any longer. I want craziness from CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Cyberpunk 2077, a lot of controversy because the number one thing about this game that people were not expecting, including myself, is that it plays in first person.
I was.
What
You
a
were
world we
expecting
live in.
To
with-
pull my Damiani
That's
hat.
the controversy, man.
That's the controversy.
Oh, it's nice.
person?
Yeah.
But yes, this was a not playable by anyone of us, but like I could have snatched the controller out of the guy's hand. I was sitting right next to him as he was playing. What's that?
Why didn't you do it?
Why didn't I do it?
Yeah, man.
This is real.
It's
I mean,
real.
did you talk to him while he was playing? Like, hey, can you go there? Can you look at that?
No, I mean there's a room of like 40 people.
Okay. Sure.
But yeah, again, so like they're not handing this out to like 3 people that walk into the room. There's like big groups of people.
Got it.
That they're doing this for, and about 45-minute demo. The other 2 big takeaways before like get into the nitty-gritty details. What you saw in that trailer, that's the world. That's not just a made-up CG thing. That's it. Like seeing it in real time like isn't as like high image quality. Like you still see like shadows drawing in and stuff. Like a lot of stuff is not final. You see like like a little pop in and that kind of stuff because the game is who knows how many years away. But when you walk outside and you look up at that city and that plaza, like that, it's there. It's all there.
Flying cars.
Yeah.
Cool.
Neon jackets.
And what's even nuttier about it is they're aiming to make this city completely open world with no loading screens.
What?
Every place you go, there's never going to be a loading screen.
Well, I mean, that's GTA 5. We're expecting that.
In GTA 5 with
Kyle.
like interiors and all that stuff?
Doesn't have a lot of interiors.
The density
Does
of
not
the
have
city
a lot.
is...
And the interiors that are in online, there's loading screens for all of them. Like
Gotcha.
you step up to the apartment and then you load into the
I
apartment.
imagine
like
it's
astronomical
extremely dense in all the buildings you could pretty much go into,
Yeah,
right?
like that plaza is filled with tons of people. And people that like all look pretty different as well.
No jaw lady? Like, do you see cool, like, half cyborgs?
They're not that bad. It's the first one.
You see
GTA 5 takes like an hour to load, and then you're fine.
no, you see people that like they have their jaws out. You see people with like their whole face has been like carved out and replaced with crazy cybernetics. Like it's this, and I think that's the other thing. I think people got this impression from the trailer that this is like oh, but isn't like Blade Runner and Deus Ex, like, isn't it supposed to be like dark and gritty? And this looks too bright and colorful. I'm like, this game is gritty. This game is like got stuff that like I don't know if I want to keep looking at that.
I want to keep
What was
looking.
it?
Let's go.
What was it you didn't
The
want to keep
first
looking at?
one of the first things that you see is similar to Deus Ex, where you have the harvesters.
Yes.
There's like a woman's like naked body laid out with like
Not for
her
me. No,
eye
thanks.
sockets gone, her rib cage broken open.
She's a dead naked body. You got to
Yeah.
start with dead.
Yeah.
Okay. You just said a woman's naked body. Is like I don't.
There is another woman's naked body not too long after that you're rescuing from an ice bath. She's like in that process of about to be harvested.
Kyle's never
Are we a
playing this
hero?
game.
Are we a hero in this?
Neither.
You're living outside the rules.
There's a note for that. I'm positive. I'm positive. Just like got it.
Yeah.
Living outside the rules. I like
Yeah, I'm jumping ahead for sure. But basically, like, so in this mission or whatever, the first mission that they showed us, like, yeah, you go in and you're like, you are rescuing this person that's about to get harvested, and you call the ambulance, the trauma team or whatever, but they show up and they put guns in your face. So it's like you carry this person's body and put them there, and they're like, okay, you back up, and we're gonna put her on the stretcher, and we're taking her. So yeah, whatever the relationship with this agent or whatever he or she is, and that's the other thing. The first thing they started with is character creator.
Cool.
And so yeah, you can choose. The character's name is V, no matter what. You can choose to be a man or a woman, and then there's like this giant screen full of options. And then you also choose things like backstory. There's like there's like a key life event. They had like 3 different options.
That's cool. That's
to
some
go for.
tabletop stuff.
Yeah, childhood hero. There's
Whoa.
some different options there to pick from.
If the game's in
kind of
first
reminds me of
person,
the first Mass Effect. in
If
a
there's
way.
cosmetic options, why do I care if it's first person?
Because there are cutscenes.
Okay.
So like after this whole mission, then there's like this kind of crazy weird cutscene where like she's lying in bed with her underwear and like some guy gets up and leaves like one night stand or something, and then like she just gets up and starts brushing her teeth, and so like you see this like
Is that
day
us?
in the life.
When you say she, is that
Yeah,
us,
that's the
V?
character. That's
Got it.
V. Yeah.
Got it.
And then the guy with the top knot.
Blood?
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were about to move on. Can you explain when you do move on, why they're being harvested? We were confused about
Oh.
that.
Organs, baby.
Yeah, that's because it's all cybernetics. It's all like
Oh, okay.
high dollar stuff.
So just like
Yeah.
outlaws
Yeah.
are taking their
yeah,
meat,
gangs are
All right,
harvesting people. Yeah.
Sorry, thank you for clearing that up.
And then I wrote down a couple of the attributes.
Okay.
They had strength and reflexes, which we expect. They also had constitution. None of this was explained. Tech
That's like
and
HP.
cool.
Cool. Max cool points, dude.
Yeah. All this is probably in the
You
Cyberpunk
get really nice
tabletop.
sunglasses.
Are you for real? There's a cool stat.
There's a cool stat.
I wonder if that's in the tabletop version. That's so
Max
funny.
it out.
They did say that class comes later. You get
Oh.
into the game before you
class
start working
chips.
towards
I
the
like
class.
that. Yeah.
You gotta earn it.
Yeah.
You got to see the world for his cool stat, and they wouldn't tell you what it does.
No, they just had a screen. I was just writing crap off the screen as fast as I could. Yeah.
Sure.
Because they didn't they just showed you the screens. They didn't like start fiddling with people's noses and things like that. Yeah.
Sure.
So it is in first person, and you do you do shoot in first person. You have those shootouts, and there are a lot of numbers popping up in a life gauge. It has kind of it looks similar to Fallout just because it's the same kind of like plain block letter text, but that's kind of how the HUD is, like what you saw in the beginning of the trailer, that like old school computer font.
Is the HUD kind of integrated into your vision though, because it is cyberpunk? Is it led to
Yeah.
believe that V is also seeing this information?
They're very much optical things in there that are part of your upgrades and stuff that you can get.
Do you aim down sights? Is it like hold down L2 and then press R2? That kind of thing?
I think that probably depends on the gun. But it was a lot more rapid fire than most of like your normal cover-based shooters. But at the same time, there's like a lot of slow-mo and stuff. So like one of the things that they did a lot is like, so there's a guy here behind cover. She would like do like a slide behind him and then like slow-mo shoot him a few times. And so there's like again, I think the closest thing I can think of is Deus Ex, to where it's like, yeah, like you're shooting, but at the same time it's still an RPG, and at the same time, like there's a lot of fast motion and stuff going on.
Are there like cuts where you see your character doing action like Deus Ex?
No, not like that.
Okay.
It's all still in first person,
Gotcha.
which actually, like with some of the animations, like
That's great.
works pretty well.
Cool.
Like again, like you do a slide and like you see your legs come up in front of you. A lot of crazy stuff like that. Let's see. Oh yeah, so the guy with the top knot in the trailer, that's like seems to be like your main colleague. His name's Jackie, and the car seems to be his as well. At least like whatever point in the story this is. And you do drive the car.
Cool.
Is that in first person?
Either way,
Yes.
Ooh.
you can be cockpit view or it can go out.
Yes.
And the cockpit view again like has like all this extra heads-up display
Yeah.
on the
Sweet.
windshield. Yeah.
So what's it like driving in those streets, man?
They were like knocking
Congestion.
over piles of trash and stuff, and yeah, it was again like pretty dense.
That's so cool. Yeah.
I'm curious if we'll ever get the ability to like make that car fly.
I think we'll get a separate car that flies. I
Separate
bet.
car that flies.
Yeah.
I would convert that car. That's a cool looking car.
This car right here, same car.
Yeah, that's the one.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a cool car, looking car.
Oh, and the spider bot. We'll get to the spider bot there. Let's see. We talked about the medic. We talked about the cutscenes. So in the apartment, you have like your clothes and stuff hanging up. Like you choose jackets with different stats. But they also, I think they also like determine like how people react to you. What's like what you're wearing.
It's like your cool stuff.
Cool points.
Your
Yeah,
cool
yeah.
points, yeah. And then like as soon as you walk outside the apartment door, like it's just
Damn.
gigantic. Just again
So
so
nice.
dense, and like walking like down the stairs and out to the plaza and like wherever you're going. They also showed there's a weird thing to point out to me. For our first look, they showed like a billboard, and then like if you interacted with the billboard, it would like turn into an arrow to point you to where you could buy the thing on the billboard.
Whoa.
So there was like
That's funny.
Count on it. That's going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So like
That shot right there,
So
man.
there's like a thing of a soda, and yeah, there's the plaza there. So this is pretty much all it. It just this is just like rendered to look a little bit cleaner. Pointed to a soda machine, and then like you could get a soda, and then like slowly refill your health by drinking the soda. It's called Night City. It's in the free state of California.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see what else we got. And then she like taking on a job or making contact with this guy. So there's like this bodyguard, and then you like get into the backseat of the car with this dude named Dexter, who's this like big black guy with a gold arm, who seems to be like some kind of mafia boss or something. And so you're trying to work with that. They have like a full like mission briefing kind of cutscene going on there as well. One thing I'm curious as to like how much. I mean, Witcher had a lot of optional stuff with the HUD, but walking around, there's like a lot of like floating kind of like either waypoints, or like if your cursor's over somebody, like we'll put up a name if they're like somebody that
Scanning
you
it.
can talk
Feels
to
like a
or
little
something.
much when you're walking around.
Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff floating
Lot
around
going
in
on,
there.
yeah.
Oh, Witcher was super customizable. I feel like there were
Yeah.
like 15 items I could choose between. Yeah.
The currency is eddies, which
Eddies? I like that.
yeah. I
So-
think they said it was actually kind of like an abbreviation of Euro dollars, which is interesting to me because if they're in the free state of California, why are we using euros?
The Euro just took over.
Over here.
Wow.
So there's a lot of lore that probably already exists in this, and they're probably already correcting me on things that I've gotten wrong, but just like trying to pick up on it right there. And then they went into like the doctor, the Ripper doc, to do some upgrades, and this is like intense because again it's first person, and so you're augmenting. So they like put your hand down and like poke some stuff and like had some stuff going around your hand, and like augmenting your hand to have like sensors on it so that you can sense how many bullets are in your gun, so you can use certain guns, and like I think like you could there's some other alt fire, like whether you see alt fire and stuff. So again, like contextualizing the stuff on the HUD.
It's cool.
But then the other thing he was upgrading was your eyeball, and so you have this thing come right in at the eyeball, and like, and he's like, hold on a second, and like takes you offline, and then like it comes back online with the eyeball like out of its socket, and you like seeing around the office and it coming back in.
Very cool. I have a question, a little bit out of context.
Yeah.
Was any of this for the interest of time, or was this just one seamless day in the life? Were you just moving in real time from each of these moments?
45 minutes straight. I don't know like how much. Like there's probably some kind of cutoff between that first mission and the apartment scene. But it was no, it like. But they're walking might have done one more, at this point. Once you get into the mafia guy's car, you're walking through a mission here, pretty much. And then so the eyeball upgrade gives you basically it allows you to like zoom in. You can zoom in on objects like if you had a scope, but you don't need a scope. You just have your eyeball. And then you could also like scan enemies and objects to get more information. And then they moved on.
Jones, real quick. One of the devs I had today that was talking to me said this, and I know that a lot of devs do this. They probably built this, so they don't have a cut in the interest of time, but they built this demo specifically for.
Oh, of course.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm sure they're cutting out like hours of stuff.
And one thing that I think is interesting, that is an example of that, is we saw a real-time gameplay demo of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. What I played was totally different.
Yeah.
And it was like the same moment. Like that scene where they go in and meet like the man and the woman's like, I want to go in stealth, and the man's like, I want to go in fighting. I was in a different location. That was a different conversation. Like that was, so like what they showed in the press conference was like, let's just get over to them really quick, do the thing, jump right to the battle.
Did you ask if they're single?
I don't remember that coming. Oh yeah, I didn't understand the context of that question. No,
okay.
I didn't do that. Where he's like, "Are you two an item?" I thought it was like a joke. Like I was not thinking relationships.
It's okay.
Sorry.
So trying to follow along and write, so it gets a little hazy. But basically, you end up like meeting up with a corp woman, like somebody from the corporation. And I guess like she's trying to have you like double cross some gangsters or something like that, and so like you have the option. So you like before you do this meetup with her, you scan like her bodyguards and stuff to see like should I take them out? How strong are they and all of that?
You have a scouter.
Yeah, so like you can scout it out, and then you go down.
Nice.
And so like that kind of plays into like how this whole scene plays out is like, do you negotiate with her? Do you attack her? And then like what they ended up doing was like getting this like $50,000 credit chip, because what you want is you want to be able to buy a spider bot from these other gangsters. And then you get in there, and then there's like a lot more like tension in this gang hideout. Again, this is where we see like guys with like all kinds of messed up faces and crazy like stuff going on. Again, like just imagine like a hole like here, like where your eyes should be, and like this huge array of like orange LED panels. It's kind of nuts. A lot of the character design and world design is nuts in here.
Are there any non-augmented humans or animals?
I'm not sure. Like, there's definitely people that you just look at and they look like people, but then you get up close and they'll have like some kind of ribbon down their face or something.
I like this guy we're shooting in the face, and it's like deflecting off.
He's like angry.
Yeah.
He's annoyed.
Yeah.
And he got shot in the cheek.
Yeah.
So like there's just a guy that comes in and like starts arguing and stuff with you, because like who is this person, why are they here, and then like like interrupting the deal to get this spider bot. And then basically like he gets convinced to take the credit chip that you got from the corp to pay for it, and then he I guess he like puts it in a system to cash in or whatever, and it's loaded with a virus, and then just everything breaks loose into like big old huge shootout. And so like, and then you've got like this tech shotgun, this ammo like going through walls. It's got like a charge shot. They showed like engineering skills, to where like one of the things you can invest in is engineering, and like you can like open up like electrical panels and like open up gates that have been sealed off or whatever, and things like that. And something like that happened in the first mission, to where like there's this guy like shooting you through a wall, but like you couldn't really get a good angle on him to hit back, and so Jackie like hacked open like another side passage so you can go and flank him. But then one of the other crazy things is it was a ricochet shot, and so with your augmentations or whatever, you could see like a green path of where a ricochet of your bullet would go.
Oh.
Like,
so you could hit guys around corners.
Ian, what's the turn-based strategy game? SteamWorld.
Yeah.
Where like if you want to ricochet
SteamWorld
shot, you
Heist?
can kind of
For sure.
So good, by the way. SteamWorld.
So good, by the way.
And then there's also a smart rifle with bullets that would actually follow and track enemies as well.
Cool.
That you got. There are a lot of guys, just like constantly, like a good range of guys. There's some guys that were up on like a catwalk, and they did like a double jump and shot them. And then, so remember this one with the pointy things? They use those to like climb, like get into a wall, like basically like point them into a wall and stick into a wall. And then they took out, they did something earlier where they like scanned one of the guys, they jacked into his brain.
Oh my god.
And hacked into his brain and hacked the squad. And then now with your scanner, she's able to like disable his gun. And so she disabled the one guy's gun, and then she jumped off the wall and stabbed the other guy, and then took the other guy out.
So intense.
I think that's the one thing that I'm most surprised seeing from Cyberpunk
that's what they're called.
that I was not expecting was horror. This is horrifying, this world. You know, this woman without half of her face.
That's so weird.
You know,
Jones.
like
I'm into
the
it.
harvesting corpses. And, well, no, I'm not saying I'm disturbed and I'm not into it. It's just I was just not expecting that.
It's real, Jones.
You know, I was expecting drama and grit, you know, and like a noir sense of like brutality, but not just like gore. And I'm just.
It's messed up, dude.
I mean, I guess there's blood all over her in the first thing that we saw, but.
Jones, do you put this trailer in your top 3?
We're talking about this next week for sure. This is without a doubt. It's probably my head's scatterbrained right now, but probably my favorite trailer from the show so far.
And then the last kind of bossish person that you have to fight is there's a guy in a big old like exosuit, and then you scan him to like find a weak point, and then you got to kind of do that slide to get behind him and like hit the weak spot, and then at the end. Because remember, like you got kind of double crossed too with that credit ship hacking in and getting you caught in a crossfire. The lady from the corporation shows up and she's like, and you complain. It's like, you set me up. It's like, yeah. He's like, well, no matter what you do, the corporation's always going to come out on top, kind of thing.
Oh, jeez.
So
you got to break the wheel. You got to take them down.
There's a lot of interesting dynamics going on there. So from combat to dialogue trees to upgrading skills.
The longest demo we saw today by far.
Yeah. 45 minute or so demo.
Wow. And
crazy.
played. Somebody was.
It's crazy.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
So next up, we got Spider-Man. A lot of people play some Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Mute
my mic. Who's staying on this desk?
me and Brandon.
Definitely me.
I'm leaving.
I played it.
You played it.
Getting my rest.
You played it. Well, get up here then.
I played the Spider-Man.
You played the Spider-Man.
You're leaving? Spider-Man, yeah, dude.
Yeah, he's hard out. Sorry, we can three.
Kyle Bossman, everybody. Kyle Bossman.
We can 3-man it. It's okay.
I'll get up there.
Okay.
Yeah, man, what's coming up?
It's
Ban more.
Thursday I can go hard though because we just get to sleep in on Friday.
Yeah.
That's what I'm stoked about.
Oh, we're dead on Friday. Like we'll not be on
Off the grid.
Wait, how are we supposed to play Lego Incredibles?
in the afterlife.
I already reviewed it. It's done, dude.
It's waiting for you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
done.
waiting for you.
Waiting for that Jones cut.
Congratulations.
It's pretty good. It was
Yeah.
I have not only been so excited to talk about this game, but I have been excited to. I mean, yeah, we didn't cut away. We're just your mic's not live.
Okay.
I've been excited to talk about this because I played this again today, but I also played it at the Sony party. So I played this immediately following the Sony press conference. I played it, and then I put 3 beers in me, and then I went back and I played it again.
Better before or after the beer?
great both times, just for different reasons.
Yeah.
The first time I did everything that they did, I basically like started where they wanted me to start, finished where they wanted me to finish. After those 3 beers,
It's like, woo! Swing
oh,
around.
oh, sorry, and a sake shot.
Yeah.
And with in the
a man
ghost
of taste,
in the
I
Ghost
see.
of Tsushima section,
guy
little
here. Look
at
unfiltered
this guy.
sake sip
Yeah,
sip.
yeah.
Went back in and just web slung around that whole city. I'm so satisfied. I'm so ready. I'm so pleased with what they're doing. But some things surprised me that I was not expecting to enjoy as much as I did. Get ready for a complete left turn from the demonstration that Bloodworth saw and the description that he just did, because this was, I mean, a huge wide open city, but a very linear demonstration. You're going, to all of these specific story beats, and this was just a wide open playground. They said, hey, you're in New York, there's going to be barriers. I talked to some people that are like, I tried to get to the Avengers Tower and it turned around. I tried to get to Central Park, got turned around. I just found that barrier, wasn't planning on it, but they just did the, literally just swapped the camera 180 and spit you back out in that direction. But the first thing I was concerned about, and the big question I'm assuming a lot of people have, the swinging, how does it feel? Feels great.
Feels great.
The major thing that I was impressed by, and this fits across the board with everything that they're doing in Spider-Man, is contextual animation. So depending on where you web sling, who you're punching, where you dodge, what item you're grabbing, it changes. Like the circle button is dodge. He's going under people's legs. He's going over their head. He's going through people. He's going around things. He's jumping off of a wall. You actually see one moment where he does that in this prison demo where he's coming up where he leans against the pylon and then pops out from it. And so a lot of this is just this game doing it for you, judging on where you're at. Right there.
Where you're facing, and
that was so satisfying. So circle is dodge, X is jump. When you're airborne, X is also that quick web pull. So if you're almost going to make it to that rooftop, you just hit X and you pull a little bit further. Or if you want to get to that big tall building to get a nice good swing in. Triangle is web and enemy. So you can either dodge, or if you see somebody pulling out a gun, and of course his spider sense goes off so he can sense threats. It's really great. Whether you can, if you're close enough to web him toward you and then get a nice combo out of that, or just stagger him, just web him and throw him off.
That move is like god tier because you could do it and get right to them. So anyone who has a gun was immediately eliminated. No problem.
But you do have to get good at that. Like there were some instances where I triangled somebody and then went to punch and I wasn't close enough, so I was punching the air a little bit, and so So just because there's all this contextual magic happening doesn't mean the game is playing itself for you. I definitely got better as I was going and got more comfortable with finessing stuff.
I was extremely surprised by how difficult it was, in the sense that I was not expecting that.
You take damage,
That is what I want to hear.
You take damage.
Because, playing the Arkham games, on professional mode, it's like, I got this. Spider-Man, it looks so easy. It's just going to be attack and dodge, and it's like, no, you have a lot to think about. You take a ton of damage if you get hit even a couple times. I was very, very surprised by how many things you had to worry about, how much utility you had in your arsenal, and by how if you messed up even in the slightest or stopped paying attention in the slightest, you paid for it.
Tell me about the air combos.
The air combos were great. I didn't. I did them accidentally. I'm going to be honest with you,
Hold
Ben.
square. Launches him up there. You could jump in the air and get him around a little bit.
Feels good.
You could also you have a wheel where you could select special abilities or powers. Like there was the mine one.
And this was you assigning that stuff. So one was the first demo that we saw where he threw the mine on the side, or the trap that grabbed the guy and stuck him to the wall.
Is there? Do you think there's any chance of you finish a guy off in the air, or at least you knock him to the ground? Can you still on the way down maybe web somebody else before you even touch the ground?
I don't know, maybe.
I would imagine.
I'm pretty sure you could use those abilities mid combo though, those items like that. I'm surprised you could.
The web in the air was kind of like an air dash strike.
Okay.
So I did that a lot, where I would get airborne and then leap over a group of bad guys, hit triangle, pick one, come slamming down on them, scare the other guys, and then dodge and flip around.
I just love the idea of seamlessly flowing from one enemy to another, regardless of where your position is.
It's crazy how seamless it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts.
Man, it's crazy how good this game feels. This game is, I cannot stress enough. I know I hype things up, but my goodness, Spider-Man, like, coming away from playing it, I was just
I'm
like,
backing it up.
I was just like, how? Like, Brad was there. Brad and I were just like, how is this game even, like, how, like, we know Insomniac.
Yeah.
We know it looks amazing, yet we're still surprised and we're still in awe after playing it. It is ridiculous.
This is great, actually. I didn't know
ridiculous.
I didn't know this existed because we saw the thing from the presentation. I didn't know that they released this gameplay trailer. So this is what we did. I mean, this is from this demo.
The wheel,
you just saw the wheel. Yeah, I did this fight specifically. Yeah. I want to talk about L1R1 for a second because that's
like my favorite thing.
That is your grab the thing in the environment and use it. And I was a little nervous seeing that stuff before and being like, is that going to be too easy? Is that going to take care of things for me? Am I really going to notice those? Because I'm going to want to take advantage of that stuff. I really liked the big pylon that he grabs and swings in the first trailer that we saw and wipes those 3 people out. Those come up in a way that I imagine Spider-Man fights, in that right in the middle of the thick of things, he's noticing all of these, you know, his senses picking up all of these different things that he can use. And so I almost hit L1R1 every single chance that I got. And not only are these obvious items that you get used to, car doors, objects that you can grab, one of them's grenades, which is really cool. So if somebody chucks a grenade, it's blinking red, you hear it beep, and so you can, if you want, move out of the way or knock a bad guy toward it, or you can pick it up with a web and throw it at somebody else. And so that was really gratifying. Just like after 3 or 4 of those, like I never got hit with a grenade because I was just instantaneously the second somebody chucked it, it was like, no, you don't.
I really want to hype up just how I want to compare it to Sunset Overdrive. And in Sunset Overdrive, you know, you feel yourself getting better at this video game. Even by the end of the game, though, you still feel like, wow, I could still be better at this. I could still chain these grinds and like combos and
never stop moving,
switching the guns.
Fighting,
like Spider-Man has that too. Like I was swinging through the city, but like not professionally. You know, I would hit the ground and then kind of have to start up again and like, you know, get the momentum down and get that feeling. Like this is a game that the more you play and the more you like learn it and practice, like the better you will get and the more seamless everything will feel.
You're comparing
like, skill is involved.
You're comparing it to Sunset Overdrive, and I definitely feel your point about the end of the game where it's like, okay, now that I have this huge arsenal. With Spider-Man, the way that you're saying it, it sounds like you have that immediately. So by the time you're at the end of the game, you're some sort of crazy sensei. Like it feels like you have to you have that sense of progression and mastery and things that you can play with pretty much immediately.
Very encouraging.
Everything that you're saying and everything that we're looking at, I can't believe this. Like we're at a point where we don't have to fill in the blanks anymore. Like with old superhero games, like thinking about Spider-Man on PS1 or Spider-Man 2 on PS2, it's like you really cling to the one thing it does super well. It's like, oh, you nailed the swinging. Cool. This is part of the Spider-Man experience. This is like the whole thing. This is as crazy as your brain could imagine.
I'm going into this demo being like swinging. I came out of the demo thinking combat. No, combat. It feels so much fun to kick these people's asses in this game. Like
and it doesn't look shallow.
No. There is skill involved, and that is 100%
you gotta move.
The biggest takeaway.
And I somebody tweeted at me, they're like, is it Arkham? To me, Arkham's about blocking. To me, Arkham is no, nice try. This is move. And the demo ended with Shocker boss fight. And it reminded me back fighting in the PS2, I think it actually was a Shocker fight at the same time on PlayStation 2, that you were in a closed space. It was kind of circular in nature, you know, so, or at least the boss fight was, where you were trying to remove this, like, not a chandelier, but this big object in the ceiling to crush Shocker. And so he would have kind of like a pizza slice attack that you just had to get behind so you can get enough time to web these supports and drop this thing, and then hit square a bunch of times so you could pull out the supports and do those one by one. So you couldn't get them all at once, and you had to piss him off enough so he would do this big attack and then get behind him and then grab another one. And what I would do is I wasn't like, oh, I got to get around this room, web. I would just web into the middle of the room and spin around.
That's what I was doing.
you know, like tetherball, just wee, and he would get really angry. You know, like Shocker would just be yelling at me like, I can't hit you because you're just constantly moving around. This scene is hilarious. His dialogue's really great. He locks himself in the safe with Shocker and is just like, you know, dodging his attacks. So I love the attitude. I love the confidence. But at the same time, like, when I'm playing as Batman and I let my guard down, I feel like I'm betraying Batman. You know, I feel it's like, no. Batman would not have messed up in that way. And that's what I love about Spider-Man, and why I think Spider-Man fits video games so well, is that he just works in all these different situations. Even when you're webbing and you mess something up, it's like, he's a kid, you know, like, he's doing the best that he can. And so, yeah, the combat really amazed me. Like, I was very surprised. It's so much fun to move around. And in just the limited time that I had, I felt myself getting better. At my hour 3-4 with this game, I mean, I just imagine it would be completely fluid and fun.
Even the initial fist fight, there's guys with guns, guys that just have fists, guys with shock batons, guys with riot shields. Yeah. We've seen the big boys, not even the bosses, but like the giant dudes. So, you know, like you said, Jones, by hour 7, 8, 9, can you imagine just like 9 different type of enemies that you have to take down in different ways, and there's like 30 of them.
Fighting Gundams.
We saw during the PlayStation thing that they had this challenge for go and find the bombs and take care of them, and the faster you do it, the better rewards you'll get. And what I want to know is, are there combat challenges? I assume that there probably are.
Yeah.
And I want them to be really creative. Like, if the combat is as flexible and you have as many tools at your arsenal as you say you do, like, really restrict me. That sounds fun. I just want to spend hours tinkering with the combat.
We'll get back out to the world in just a second. Something that I was reminded of in this fight that also worked contextually, that I got cocky and I thought ahead of like, oh, I bet this animation's gonna be janky, and then it was beautiful.
Yeah.
You can see these pillars that are in this room, and you can see that he has to grab these big chunks of ceiling and spin them around and slap Shocker with them. And I happened to grab one of those when a pillar was immediately to my right. And I was like, okay, he's gonna spin it, the web is gonna go through this pillar. That's fine. You know, it's like, as long as I do this attack, it's boss fight. I'm not gonna really worry about that. He webs it, pulls it behind him, and then slams it. So the game knew there was something to the right of me. They knew that animation wasn't gonna fit, and he adapted to, you know, these objects not clicking together. But yeah, there's a very specific point in the game where they teach you how to perch. That's L2, R2 at the same time. If there's not an object you're immediately facing or something that you're targeting that's like, I want to perch on the side of that building, or I want to perch on the top of that steeple, the game will slow down and a reticle will pop up, and then you can aim that around and pick where you want to go. And the first time they let you do that, you perch on top of a building, and then they, Assassin's Creed style, do this 360-degree camera move, and all of these little, like 40 of them, these little colored icons pop up.
Kicked in.
I got anxiety, dude. I was like, yo, this is a lot.
A lot of colors.
My biggest fear is that this just turns into a checklist, which I do not want. That is a valid fear, in my opinion.
But I think it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah,
it's like on one side you got a checklist, and on another side you got an empty city. It's like, what do you want?
Sure.
Like, you want stuff
there's
to
a balance.
do.
There's a nice balance there.
I remember the first time I played Arkham City, and I was like, I want to do everything.
But Arkham City has like 9 side villain quest lines.
I agree. I think those things are well developed, and it's not just like, hey, do this, fill up the number.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not. I think why we get so bothered by checklists is because they're boring. It's just, if it's the same thing over and over, and doing it the first time isn't that much fun because the mechanics aren't there to support it, that's completely different than a checklist, and it's like, no, give me more. Give me any excuse to engage in this stuff.
For sure. Fair. Very fair.
And yeah, obviously, you know, well-developed, meaningful storylines like they do have in the Arkham games is awesome. But if it's just fun to play, I think that's totally
I think it was just like the initial, like, you know, you come out and all of a sudden it's like, yo, there's like
rainbow colors.
Rainbow it's overwhelming.
But it was a I don't see that happening in the game. I think this was a demo introduction to the concept of multiple activities that you can do that'll be labeled on the map, because there is spontaneous stuff that pops up. These were the non-spontaneous spontaneous things. These are items, things you can interact with. Oscorp laboratory, the portable laboratory rooms that you can open up and get skill points. The challenges that you were talking about. I was standing behind somebody when they were doing the demo, and they found one of these challenges, and we're like, okay, and then moved on. So I didn't actually see how those work out, and I'm sure all sorts of other stuff.
Just tell me about the running on the building.
R2 does everything. So in old Spider-Man games, and I can't speak to a lot of the stuff. I missed out on Ultimate Spider-Man. Web of Shadows is really interesting, as they really focus on air combat. I believe like Vulture was kind of one of the main bad guys in that, and so there was a lot of like fighting on the sides of buildings and pushing people out. When you run up the side of a building, if you can go to the left, you can go to the right. If you are when you attach yourself to a wall, if you're just like crawling up the wall like a spider, you just hold R2 and he just seamlessly goes into the run. When you get to the top of the building, he seamlessly just kind of jumps out. And again, that X button, like the second you get airborne, if you want that extra little push, you can hit X to move out. If you're not close enough to do the perch ability, just hit X and you'll zip forward a little bit and then you can perch.
Brad comes over and I'm just like, the very first thing I did was immediately go to the Empire State Building. Brad comes over and I'm just like slowly, like he's like
making progress.
Yeah, making progress, and I'm just like slowly doing this. He's like, dude, just run up.
Yeah.
I'm hold R2.
I'm like, oh!
And R2 is also the run on the street.
So
So when you're just on the street, you're
So
running.
Really seamless, yeah. And you're like swinging and he runs along the wall too.
Yeah.
So then there are the crimes. So then there are red icons on the map. Some of them you will just notice, you'll hear police chatter. And some of this is introduced to you by your friend. And so she'll, the one that in the demo that we saw during the PlayStation conference, the one that was giving you updates and information.
Yuri Watanabe?
Yuri Watanabe, thank you, Ian. Watanabe. Yeah, she will update you on stuff that's going on. Again, all of this is optional. The Shocker fight was optional. Actually, what I loved is when that Shocker fight, I love the lazy hand when he just kind of swims around. Again, contextual. Like, you're not controlling that, he just does that at that moment. When Shocker was introduced and she said Shocker broke out, he's taking over a bank, Spider-Man was pissed. He's like, Shocker was in jail. What's going on? I put him in jail. She's like, he broke out, So you could like sense that frustration. That's really what I wanted out of the Arkham series. I wanted this persistent sense of like, once I get out, I get pulled right back in. It is never a dull day for Spider-Man. That he never really wins. Every time he thinks he's got a handle on things, things get worse. And there are these crimes that happen. I didn't actually see a chase in progress. So when I talked to the director and I talked to other people that were playing demos, they stumbled across a car already in motion. So it's like, this person robbed a bank, they're escaping, you got to go find that car. In Spider-Man 2, you actually had to land on the car. In this, you hit the web something button triangle, and then you'll automatically zip to the car. When I got involved in a car chase, it was very fun because I stumbled across a gang that was filling something into the back of a car. And so when I dropped in to start punching them, one of those guys freaked out, got in the car, and took off. So if I wanted to and was paying attention, I could clear out that group with the trap and stop them from doing that. Or when I spotted the guy running for the car, specifically web him and pull him back and stop him from doing that. I didn't. He gets in the car, he takes off. So then I got to web through the streets. He's taken every left and right turn he can. Finally web onto the car. They shoot up at me. I do a backflip off the car, have to hit triangle to web back on. And then when I did it, he webbed with his left hand and pulled the guy out of the car. When I saw Patrick Klepek do it, flipped around to the front of the car so he's facing the windshield, just with his hand reached in and pulled the guy out. When I did it, he flipped over the back, webbed the car, and then pulled it to a stop. When I saw someone else do it, he was on the front of the car, flipped out, webbed the buildings next to him, and just with his feet pulled the car shut, to a stop. So again, just all these little moments, there's at least 2 or 3 different animation variants of it happening. That are going to get repetitive in a 20-hour playthrough no matter what.
Right.
But just seeing this demo, it's like, and these aren't just really simple animations. They're visceral. The front of the car is buckling. The windshield's cracking. The car is skidding to a halt. The smoke's coming up off the tires. Like,
getting good at this game feels good.
Yeah, so there is a concern I have watching this footage, and I think you're going to have to cut me a little slack here, but watching Spider-Man go and like perch on a railing and look down at a guy and hit square to stealth kill or bring him up, when you say that the combat is so good and so effective and so fun to engage with, Huber, you've talked before about how when you find something that's really effective in a game, it's hard to not do that thing. When you know it's the best choice, it's the most efficient way to get through something. It's like, I can see if
your game is designed this way, but it's like, I'm going to do the most efficient thing.
Right, and you think about how, like, when stealth kills are cool, it's because it's like, man, I really had to be careful and slowly move through this environment to earn that kill. But when you're Spider-Man, you can just get to where you need to go quickly. You can escape a situation quickly. You can get to a high place very, very quickly. And so I'm worried a little bit for story missions and maybe even some side stuff where it's like, okay, yep, I just stealth killed everybody and all I did was look down and push a button.
I bet there'll be guys like that are immune to stealth kills somehow.
I think so too. I just hope that that's not too effective too many times, especially when they put so much effort into the combat.
And with the stealth, with the prison break that we saw, there's no stealth opportunities there
right,
at all.
That's
These
true.
are a bunch of guys that were bum rushing you, tons of enemies at once. So I can see, you know,
the balance is important.
Classic Spider-Man to be like, oh crap, I'm in the middle of a trap. I could see a lot of those instances coming up.
You know, getting that balance right, getting all the side activities, getting that balance right, that's going to separate this game from being like a 9, an 8, or a 9, or a 10. Like that's what we're discussing here when we're talking about those little unknown quantities over a 20-hour game.
Right,
it is ridiculously good.
And one final thing that I didn't figure out when I was at the PlayStation party, and I asked the director, and he actually picked up the controller and showed me personally, because I was like, the webbing feels a little slow, and I saw some prompts for L3 that I could do something, but I missed what that was. And he said, it's real simple. You swing as fast as you are going. So if you want to swing fast, fall fast. So if you jump off a ledge and you want to get a good speed or maybe get a good slingshot back up into the air, you hit forward with L3, go straight into a nosedive, get really fast, wait as long as you possibly can before you hit the ground, and then R2 when you come flipping
Man, that's so encouraging. Like, they thought of that. They're like, no. This is how you deal with that problem specifically, manipulate it. Yeah.
Because there were so many times when I would just fall and I'd be like, swing, and then I'd be too high, there wouldn't be a building to latch onto.
Yeah.
And then I'd fall too much and I would hit the street and I'd be like, dude, like, get good, Huber.
It's on you to know.
It's on you.
And what's exciting me is not only getting comfortable with the web controls, but getting to know the city. So if I see a target and I know how to get there, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to go by the way the crow flies. I'm going to take a left here because I know that's Times Square right there, and I know there's a lot of big buildings, and I can go that way. Or I'm just going to run along a building, jump to the next one, run along that building, jump to the next one. To make sure that I'm not a shill. I have one criticism.
Brad confirmed.
I have a criticism.
Sure.
I have something that bummed me out. I have something that I was like, oh, let's do this part, and it was non-existent. And I was like, that's a bummer. There were 2 instances where I landed on the street and started walking around, and nobody acknowledged me. Like, it wasn't, oh, it's Spider-Man, click, click, click.
That's weird, because I saw some of that. Like,
and I remember that from the PS2 version. Like, if you were going by a building, you hear Spider-Man, and like, maybe this wasn't in the demo. Maybe they were more focused on me doing the objectives, and they didn't want to get me caught up in something that was going on. There was one really fun moment where there was a police shootout happening. And so, as I'm webbing and looking overhead, there's a couple cars pulled up, guys hiding behind the cars, shooting at cops that are ducked behind their cars. And so it was fun having these guys focused on the policemen and then just dropping in behind them, and then having those bad guys see me and then kind of looking back and forth, do I keep shooting at the cops or do I deal with Spider-Man? And so it was fun to drop in on them, and I finally took them all out, and Spider-Man said to the cops, like, okay, I'll let you take care of this. And I just wanted one cop to be like, thanks, Spider-Man, and they walked right past me. So it was like, oh, I'm not here, okay.
Like Leon saying, I got this.
Yeah.
You got this.
I got this.
Question, okay? Avengers Tower has been confirmed, okay? The city is in chaos. You have Wilson Fisk's men everywhere. You got Shocker robbing this bank. Like, there needs to be a believable reason that the Avengers are not stepping in on this,
They're
right?
in space.
No, I'm just saying, this is not me nitpicking. I'm just saying, if you're going to show Avengers Tower, like,
why am I not getting some
Tony's
help?
popping in.
Yeah, what is that in the story?
You're getting
like,
some Iron Man
theory?
spider suit.
Like, what's your theory, Jones? Like, where are the Avengers right now? with the
I
city.
mean, I could
in
offer all
Paris.
sorts of theories. Like, I mean, just gone. Like, just off doing much bigger things, and they don't worry about the city.
Taking care of Thanos somewhere.
I could look at it as almost kind of like a sense of ownership. That, like, maybe in the current Spider-Man universe in the MCU, you have this kind of father-son relationship between Tony Stark and Peter Parker, and so there's kind of a sense of Spider-Man proving himself, where like maybe that doesn't necessarily exist in this universe, where like Spider-Man's like, this is my city, back off. Like, if you guys want to meet here, that's fine, but kind of like in a Batman-Superman sense, where like if Superman shows up and is like, I got this for you, Batman, he's like, get the hell out of my city, what are you doing here? So I wonder if there are so many cities, and when you think about the Avengers, you don't necessarily like associate each one of them with a particular city. They're kind of more global, and that's not necessarily Spider-Man. And so,
cool. I'm saying with the jailbreak scene, like all of the villains have been let loose. It seems like a situation where you would want some backup if you were Spider-Man. So,
maybe there will be. Maybe
I'm not
hiding it.
Yeah, I'm not doubting it. I'm not doubting their storytelling ability in the least. There's gonna be a reason. I just want to know what it is.
I can't think of a game in recent memory that has done such a 180 for me, where I was like, this looks kind of cool, and maybe I'll enjoy it. I'm sure Brandon will enjoy it. I'm sure Huber will enjoy it. Like, the wait is painful right now, based on everything that you guys are saying.
It's so close, though, dude.
I know, but I just wasn't expecting this level of depth and polish.
Dude, this game is absurdly good.
And I mentioned it a little bit, but the writing is great. The performances are great.
Yeah.
Like, I was a little nervous the jokes are going to be too much. His attitude is so great. Like, even little stuff like that. I don't know what he said specifically in that area, but like just being like, "Hi guys," when he pops out, and like, "Oh, nice try," when people are trying to attack him. His little bit with Shocker. He got Shocker so pissed off.
I just have one request. Don't write out Joker for the final fight. Like, don't. You know what I'm talking about? In the end of Batman, where
The first Arkham?
yes.
Oh yeah.
That like, it was an incredible game, riding high, and then just this super lame, generic final
Because we're talking about
boss.
freedom here,
Right.
and this game
They
could get
won't.
frustrating when you get into these sections where they force you to do something.
Yeah.
Will Wolverine reveal himself?
Yes.
But
Guaranteed.
I was nervous that Watanabe's in your ear. I was nervous that she'd be like, "Come
I
on,
was nervous about that too.
Come on, Spider-Man, do this thing I'm telling you to do."
Yeah.
And they were all just offers. It was
Okay.
like, "Hey, there's a bank robbery over here. Hey, there's a car chase. Hey, this thing is happening. You might want to deal with it."
I'm worried
you
about
just
those
hear
offers being
gunshots.
incessant. Like, are they all the time?
It's scary, dude.
They
And
are-
the crimes in progress.
They are
and all the
consistent, but it's not.
things.
To me, it made the city feel alive. It wasn't like It wasn't like, oh, I can't get any rest. It was just like, this is just happening. It was like, when I'm 12, there's
Yeah.
a car chase down like Main Street, and you're like, oh, okay. Oh, I don't have time. I'm trying to find this Oscorp thing and deal with that, and then maybe I'll get to that later. I'm probably gonna want to do everything when I first start playing this game, and upon hour 10, I'm probably gonna let a lot of stuff slide and be like, hey, I can't be everywhere. That's the nature of Spider-Man.
Obviously, it doesn't seem like it would fit her character, but I wish more games took like an MGS codec approach where, like, yes, a lot of times they're calling you and you're having really vital information, but you might have a 10-minute conversation about Godzilla, or like, it might be a little bit flirty. It made them feel like people where you could just have total fluff amidst the melodrama. I don't want every call to be an offer. I want some calls to just be like, hey man,
How you doing, Spidey?
you see this flick?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I don't know. I want more of that.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, Spider-Man.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
stuff.
Well
Great
presented.
demo.
Well presented.
I will probably play it again before E3 is done.
I know
Sneak
you
back in
will.
there and check it out.
I know you will.
So good.
What's next?
I need to play it.
What's
So good.
what's
I need to
next?
play it. Next on the list, we've got Control.
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 Control height.
I'm gonna close this door.
It's all
because
you,
it's almost
baby.
midnight and we're loud. So
That
apologies. That
That is my favorite song in Skyrim.
Skyrim, very good.
Skyrim. What's that?
Very pretty. Unmute me, please.
So I was booked to see Control. They botched the appointment a little bit. Got some text messages from Ben and Brad, and somehow all the stars aligned. I was supposed to see it by myself.
escalator.
Yeah, I was supposed to see it
We
by
had
myself.
just seen whatever it was we had just seen.
We
Dead
all
Alive
got to
6.
see it.
Right.
Yeah, I was getting ready to leave.
Yeah, we all got to see Control.
Yeah.
A gameplay demo. They played it for like 10 minutes.
Again, in front of us, hands on the controls.
Yes.
It was mostly this scene.
Yo,
Actually,
dude,
all
the
stuff
ritual.
from this. Yeah.
The very first thing I want to discuss is the lore.
Yeah.
Straight up. The lore of this game has me enthralled. There is so much going on just in a 10-minute presentation. So the main character has been thrust into the director role. She's now the director of the
Previous director.
What was her name? Jessie?
Jessie, I believe.
Yeah.
the Federal Bureau of Control. And only the director is allowed to use that service weapon,
Yeah.
which apparently has a whole lore of itself.
They're like, they don't know how old it is.
They don't know how old. Yeah, it's like this artifact that can kind of turn into like a shotgun style weapon, a pistol style weapon.
I know that as soon as I get that weapon in the game, because it looks so cool every time it fires a bullet and just expands a little bit, I'm just going to be shooting at nothing.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to be wasting an entire clip just at a wall.
It's very cool. You
Checking
see
out
it a
the
little bit
animation.
in the trailer, but it's made of these little blocks, and when it was in shotgun mode, the front of the weapon, the little cubes go like out into a line to the sides of it, so it kind of shows you the spread. She cycled through a few other setups for it. One of them had like an X of blocks. Don't know what that does. One of them's just a pistol. It's crazy.
Good tech.
Good
So-
tech.
Great tech.
So Remedy, Max Payne and Alan Wake and Quantum Break, Atmosphere, and that trend continues.
Oh, yeah.
With Control, the Atmosphere, and again the lore.
That room is called the Panopticon.
Panopticon,
Which is a prison where the guards are in the middle so they can see every cell and you don't know when they're looking.
Yeah, this guy keeps popping up. The voice of Max Payne, by the way.
Live action video overlay.
Yeah.
This is the artifact or the special service weapon.
And you see this Inception style thing because the environments in a 10-minute demo, the variety of environments.
10 minutes?
It was like 12. It was like 12, 10 to
give or
15, give or take a few minutes. The variety in the environments was awesome.
Especially because this game all takes place in this one building.
Yes.
Called the Oldest House.
Yeah,
The oldest house.
That is where their headquarters is. It's
Yeah.
called the Oldest House.
So there is not only this science fiction, Quantum Break, Inception comparison, but there are demonic undertones to this game.
It's disturbing.
More
Very.
like ritualistic sci-fi. It's very.
Demonic
I mean, they mentioned it. I mentioned that it seemed like Southern Reach. The dude even got. I asked him if he'd seen Beyond the Black Rainbow, and he was like, "Oh yeah, watch the trailer all the time." That music.
It was
and I'm just like, yeah.
It was like he said like, oh yeah, I watched it just to feel good.
Right.
Like, basically just
Which
to
you
pick me
should
up.
do.
Me and Hubert said, what the hell are they
I
talking
think
about?
the song from that
No, I
trailer
was-
is
I
called
was there with you.
Sentienauts by Sinoia Caves. It's awesome. Watch the trailer for Beyond the Black Rainbow. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
The environments,
weird
though,
fiction.
The environments, the way they transitioned,
And they blend into each
they
other.
blend into each other, but there's this light switch.
Yes, the best part.
This light switch that she just pulls down, and then it would kind of go black or like
Hang
reappear,
on.
and it would shift.
Hang on. I think we're leaving out a very important thing. So she has to do. They exist in this reality where magic and ritual, not even magic, but like weird science, like weird fiction kind of stuff. Ritual is hugely important in this reality to the point where she has to like say and perform rituals to the point where there are signs that say ritual required for admittance, which is that there's a little sign that says ritual required for admittance, and she pulls this light switch cord 3 times, and then the entire hallway just changes to this other location. And like she
Right there, she's
like
not chanting,
down.
but like saying the ritual. Like
that part was
I
cool.
am in power.
She says, I am the director. This is my house. I belong here. I am in control. And then the whole room went from this kind of like crazy ass like nightmare realm to totally normal, well, not totally normal. She walks out and the janitor's like dancing with a broom, and then she's like, never mind. And there's like weird like barnacle fungus on one of the walls. They didn't focus on it.
When we talked about it being disturbing, I think the contrast between how she acts and how everybody else she meets acts, like she's not encountering these absolutely batshit insane situations and going like, oh my god, what is this? Like there's this confidence that she has that almost borders on eerie.
Yeah.
That like there's some part of her that is just a little bit messed up and is what is driving her forward. And then because the people that you meet just either seem completely loopy, like this janitor that's like dancing.
The dude staring at like the phone booth or whatever that was.
There's a refrigerator.
And that guy is just completely terrified.
Yeah,
well,
and he said that if he doesn't stop looking at it, it will like destroy.
Something bad will happen.
Right.
So he wanted her to take his shift.
Yeah, he had
Season
been
3.
So there are
side quests.
They're called altered objects.
And the hiss.
The hiss is the enemy. They're this big evil entity force of some kind. But yeah, altered objects. So that fridge is some kind of altered object, and whatever power it has, someone constantly has to be looking at it, and they can't look away, or something terrible will happen.
I've been watching it
And
for
you
2 days.
you go up to him, and he's like, "I've been watching it with no breaks. You gotta get me out of here." She's like, "I'm sorry, I don't have time."
Like, no, sorry, I can't.
There's an emergency situation, but
She's
they
like, I'll be
said
back. She's like, I'll be back.
they said everything. It's like almost a Metroidvania, kind of.
Yes.
Well, because you
not
get
kind of.
new abilities throughout the game. Like they show in the trailer, like the kind of the glide thing. They show she had glided over like a cliff or a gap or something like that, and they're like, you'll go back to areas you couldn't access before. Exactly like a Metroidvania.
You level up. You level up
your gun.
weapons and
It'll
abilities.
change.
Right.
Well, you find new objects of power, is what they said. I don't know if it's exactly leveling up.
Right, and
In that
they
sense,
said straight up that you will encounter side missions where you are clearly like it's not that you can't get through it, but it is meant for you to be stronger when you face it.
So there
Which
are
is an openness that Remedy has never played around with before.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but also in like the
Very
paths
linear.
you can take. It's much less linear than the other games.
Yeah.
They said they were doing a quest, a mission, whatever task she was on, and they entered a room that had 4 hallways off to the sides, and they were like, you can go down any of those. That's not how you solve this particular problem, but you can just go down them and do a plethora of other things and come back to this when you want to.
Like the idea of exploring this massive environment, the oldest house, and really exploring it because it's fun and it looks cool and you want to do side quests from like a video game perspective, but also because in 10 minutes, like I am enraptured by this world. I want to know more. I want to see more.
Visually very cool too.
And I really liked how they emphasized the variety of the side quests that you'll be doing because you are in this place where it could be anything and you could go anywhere. You are going to have missions where it's like, okay, I'm going to need to go to all these different places in order to get this task done. But they also said, no, like sometimes you'll have a crisis that you'll need to deal with right then and there. It's like, make a decision, what's going to happen. And I really like that as well. It's not just going to be, not every single side mission is going to be, okay, go and collect these things.
I wonder if time is a factor. You know,
They said they said they're still working on that.
Yeah, nothing concrete yet.
And the powers we saw were
Like the force wall you could put up.
the force wall with like debris kind of
It's like debris that she calls out.
and then like a telekinesis kind of throw things at your enemies. Like you know, anything from a chair to a forklift.
Well, and they said that the environments were really pretty dynamic. I saw her; she was just like whipping stuff off the wall, like
Destruction.
destroying pillars to throw rocks at people. Yeah, very neat.
And
The gunplay looked really good.
The float, I thought it was just going to be a traversal thing, and then he used it in
In
combat.
combat, like he was
Which
being,
was cool.
he was fighting several things on like a bridge. just flew up, started shooting down at him, and then landed again. It was
I
awesome.
loved the kind of unevenness of the float because a lot of times when you have a hover or a flight ability, it's always like, okay, I'm going straight, I'm going,
Right.
you know. Here, it was like kind of awkward where it took a significant amount of
looks like
effort
she had to concentrate
Yeah,
on
to
it.
get into the air and stay into the air, and I thought that just gave it a level of believability.
It gave me like Warlock Destiny vibes.
Yeah, but even
Sorta
like
like-
kind of
yeah, yeah.
rougher
But
than
like,
that.
yeah. Her like legs are moving and her hands are like, you know. But it's not to say that she doesn't seem confident because
Right.
she like you were saying, she doesn't seem weirded out by
It
any of
just
this.
sells the sense that she's doing an incredible thing,
Right.
and that takes effort.
Right. It's a stressful position that she's in. You can sense that she's like stressed out, but she's not like out of her league at all, which is really cool.
I do want to
She
go.
knows what all these
yet.
things do.
Go deeper.
Right.
The Black Pyramid.
Can they
dude,
still see the B-roll,
freaked me
Damiani?
out.
Yes.
Can
I
we?
want to go back to the time thing, though, and just emphasize, because we were saying, like, hey, there might be things that you need to deal with right then and there. But they said straight up that they don't like either or quests, where it's like, because I made this decision, or because I wanted to come back to that later, that I missed out on something.
Right.
They very clearly said, like, if you want to see it, and you want to get it done, we want to let you do it whenever you want to do it.
So don't be stressed.
Yeah,
that if you
don't be stressed out.
Do a side quest right now. If you don't help the guy staring at the fridge right now, you can go back and do it later.
Yeah.
Game
2019.
Sweet.
Yeah, looks awesome.
Very, very excited for Control.
I am out of my mind excited. I also like that she like seems a little older than most video game protagonists. She's like maybe mid-30s.
Yeah.
I like it.
I want to know more about her. I just want to know more about the world, dude. The lore. I can't get enough of the storytelling in this game.
I mean, like I said before, they were like, I was dropping like weird references, and they knew.
Oh
them.
yeah.
They're all into weird fiction.
Yeah.
That part happens because she touches the Bennecott TV or whatever, and it like breaks the entire room.
Like Sam Lake loves Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
He knows what's up.
You asked
Yeah,
about
so she shot that
references.
pillar out. Destructible
You
environment.
asked about collectibles and in the form of like notes, getting a deeper sense of the world.
Because I thought
by-
there were far too many in Quantum Break.
Well, and I also thought like the collectibles were completely pointless in Alan Wake as well. But it's one of those things where if they do have those notes or terminals that you can read or whatever, it's not that that wouldn't be interesting, and piecing together why this is happening on a deeper level wouldn't be satisfying on its own. But I also wonder if I would completely ignore that stuff just to have it be as foreign and arresting as possible. Like, I don't know if I want to know why this is happening to me.
I mean, I think if you're doing weird fiction right, kind of the more you learn,
Yeah,
The more
I
confused
think
you
the
get.
more,
Right,
well,
that's
like
a good point.
if you're doing it right, an example that shoots into my mind right now in House of Leaves, there's an entire chapter explaining how the science of echoes works, so that later when a room that you now understand is far too small to cause these kinds of causes echoes, it like blows your mind.
Right.
So I hope that's the kind. And
But I
also
think
hope
that's difficult
it's
writing
hard
to do.
And I also hope that the thing that takes me out in games like this is like, why would she, like, if it's something that she would already know and she's sitting there reading it, you know, because I don't know it. Like,
Right.
I want her to be finding papers that are like things she hasn't seen yet.
And that's the thing, is it really seems like she knows what's up.
She knows all these items.
But
she knows
remember,
what's up.
only the director has access to like this.
Only the director has the power.
Yeah.
To, like, they're the only ones who can use that weapon.
And she's a
I love
brand,
when
a
she
brand
just
new
like
director.
flips the weapon out, just like.
So it's cool because I feel like she knows a lot, but since now she has the director power, it's like
They said something like that. It's like things kind of, it hits the fan like very shortly after she gets
she
there.
thought she had the situation under control. It probably gets crazy.
Right.
they
She's
said
not-
like it was
Events
already
take place
weird.
that make her be the director.
I do have a concern, and it's specifically with the
dare you.
telekinesis.
Yeah.
Like I think about BioShock and other games where I've been like.
Never been done perfectly, maybe.
Right, because there's always this awkwardness when you pick something up and then you gotta like move around something and the item gets stuck and it's like, okay, well I need to untelekinesis it, walk around, get it. And that awkwardness takes away from the flow and fun of picking up a huge thing in the heat of combat in the first place. And so I hope that those sorts of issues are thought
Yeah.
through, and combat will still
A
remain
couple
smooth.
times it was like cumbersome. Where
Yeah.
you picked up a
Yeah.
like a branch or whatever, you know, a
That,
chair.
that said, though, I was actually very surprised with how fluid using telekinesis against enemies was, and how quickly the combat
Yeah,
encounters
happens very
went.
quickly.
Like there was, I think in that room with the 3 floating in that red room that you just saw a second ago, they come down. I think the person playing the demo dealt with them in like a matter of seconds, because shot one, knocked a giant bookcase onto the other one, and like crushed the other one with a cube of some kind.
Right, but
Brutalism.
also the person
Is a dev.
making the game.
Well, no, I know. I mean, I was gonna say, yeah, like he's done this demo 300 times.
Right.
But like, still,
Yeah, and I'm
it
not
seemed
saying
very fluid.
not saying it can't be pulled off
This
at all.
this part, yeah.
Because like Quantum
basically
Break
what
was
happened.
all about setting up that efficiency.
Right, exactly,
right.
exactly.
Putting someone in a time bubble,
Yeah.
zipping over to someone else, like
Yeah.
they get it,
Right.
they know. Same engine as Quantum Break, like
Man, it sure looks smoother
Yeah, it's
than
great.
this.
It looks great.
Yeah.
That part where a second ago on that bridge where she threw the kind of yellow rectangle at that thing, that was the part where there were way more of those things. There were maybe 5 or 6. And she was shooting and then flew up off the side of the bridge, shot the other one, and then just kind of came back down and kept going. I was like, this is so cool.
when it was over, you know, it was a weird demo, right? A lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
When it was over, they were like, things get really weird.
Yeah.
You know? Like as if it wasn't already weird.
As if they were like, they were like, did you think it was like they were? They knew in the back of their mind where they were going.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
like, oh man, I hope we showed them enough of the weird stuff. And we're just sitting there going like, whoa.
And they said that this takes place before the middle of the game.
Okay.
So like, things get weirder from there. This is like 40% in or something.
Yeah.
30% in. I mean, don't quote me on that, but like, yeah, things just go crazy from there.
This is the kind of game where I can imagine getting it and playing it for a really long time, and then just having that moment where you're getting up to go to the bathroom or something, and you're taking a break, and you just like see the world start twisting.
Yeah. You get the Guitar Hero Highway Vision, except
Yes.
it's the
Yes.
wall just
Yep.
breaking into a vortex, and you see like crazy floating bodies, and you're like, all right.
So
where I'm
that
at.
was Control.
So yeah, we're lukewarm on it.
Yeah,
2019.
Warm.
Be excited.
Loved it.
What's next?
Mega Man 11.
Mute me, Damiani.
Mute me, Damiani.
This is what I've wanted to talk about the most.
3 and 4, Damiani.
Jump up here.
When
Are they
A second take.
all right, I'll wait.
Wait! We need confirmation before we move.
Yeah.
Damiani, are you coming out?
Good catch. I'm just making my game.
I'm good.
I'm good. What else? We're ending at 12:30?
Yeah,
what's
just
up?
that and Forza, and he's got Forza ready.
Okay. Hey, we're actually going to get through all of these.
Wow. Because we cut a few.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I'm on the mic.
Is Damiani coming up?
I don't think so.
I can't come up, man.
Okay.
Okay.
me to do that?
Try to get Mega Man. Mega Man.
Dude.
Well, here, you go up.
We're excited to talk.
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of stuff that we're not going to get to tonight that, like, I'm excited to talk to you about Dead or Alive 6, Huber. I think you're going to be into it.
Dude, I saw
That's the short list.
I
Yeah.
saw on the show floor Geralt and Killick fighting, and it made
Tomorrow.
me
I get to do it
smile.
tomorrow. I get to play Geralt in Soul Calibur 6 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Look at that long list there.
The White
Yeah.
Wolf. Jeez.
Soul Calibur 6 is something where, like, they're going to have to kick me off. Because normally I feel like for demos, you really try to be
But
considerate.
they also have the Jump Force.
Go.
Yeah, Jump Force as well. Okay. All right, so Mega Man 11, it's always really reassuring. I was playing Mega Man 11 before Huber. He was finishing up Resident Evil. I was like, damn, this is really good. But obviously, I'm excited for this game. I love Mega Man. Huber comes up, just starts playing. He's like, might as well. 5 minutes in, he goes, this is great. Validation immediately.
Simply perfect.
Simply perfect.
Mega Man 11 is simply perfect.
There's like one minor criticism that I have.
Okay.
Get it out of the way.
Okay, so I do think at some points the levels can look a little bland. There are times where I'm like, okay, we're in this big factory. I feel like you could do more here. I feel like there are things that could be happening that could give me a sense of this stage being a little bit more alive. Like, just you go back and you revisit like Mega Man X, and there's stuff happening in so many of those stages that give you a sense of a broader world, and I just wanted a little bit more of that. I know traditional Mega Man isn't as much about that, but I feel like we have the technology.
Yes.
That's all. I'm not saying it needs to be overdone.
Very fair.
But honestly, that's it. As far as complaints go, that's it. That's all I've got. Because the mechanics, this feels so good and so tight. Like, the slide is just as fast as you want it to be. You can jump out of that slide just as easily as you want to. You jump just as high as you need to. But really, honestly, I am amazed at how good the 2-gear system is. And how much it adds to the game.
That's how you get that.
Yeah, explain what that is.
No, that's not the only. That's the thing, though.
Oh, you can call in.
You can call in Rush to come get that thing too. Multiple options.
What's 2-gear system?
So the 2-gear system. This is new for Mega Man 11, and you have 2 powers essentially that you can activate at any time beyond like calling in Rush, which takes off of that red bar there, or other robot master weapons. This is its own separate gauge that you can see below your health bar right there.
Okay.
And both of the gears are working off the same bar. The first one is speed, and it slows everything else around Mega Man down. And this isn't just to make platforming easier, which it certainly does, but enemies are designed around it too. And not just regular enemies, but boss fights in a really, really cool way. So the most basic example of an enemy that's designed around this power are the wheel guys. And so they have one slot on their wheel, and they're moving pretty fast at you. And so you can do it without using speed, but it's a lot easier to be like, okay, it's coming up. Let me make sure I get this shot right. I'm going to slow him down, have that opening go, boom, got it, done.
It's like a trigger activate?
Yeah, so it's mapped to L1 and R1. And so both of your powers are mapped to one of those. And you can switch between them on the fly. And the boss fight really emphasized how much fun that was to do. And so you have this boss that's basically like this stack of spiked death, and it will split up into different little plates, and it covers so much of the map. It's hard to avoid.
Me.
Yeah.
I tried 3 times, died 3 times. I was like, whoa.
Right. And so when the boss is splitting itself up and trying to crush you, you want to use speed to make sure you can find that little gap of safety in time, because it doesn't give you very much time to do it. But the boss was so tanky and was taking so many shots. And not only that, they give you a very, this is the boss, they give you an extremely small window to actually damage it, because you can only damage it when it is not spinning. And so what they're saying is use your power gear. And so what happens is you do the speed gear, and then I would switch to the power gear just like he did there to get in some extra damage. But you have to be careful because that gear bar is filling up fast, and so you have to manage it constantly. And
he's so good.
Yeah, he was really good. He handled that pretty quickly. But once you get used to it, you'll be flying through these stages, climbing up platforms, dealing with enemies, and switching between the 2 gears in a really smooth and sharp way that feels wonderful. Like, it adds a tremendous layer to the game that's very, very fun. And I think people were worried about, like, wait, slowing things down, does that ruin the platforming of Mega Man? And at least to both of us, this is a hard game. I do not think the gears made Mega Man easier. Mega Man designed itself around these abilities in a super cool way.
Yeah. You know, Ben, you pretty much touched on every single aspect about the game. It felt so good to play.
Yeah.
The slide was really cool. You know, the gear mechanic took some getting used to.
Yeah,
it definitely took some getting used to. But I think the way that you use it against just the basic enemies and the bosses makes it really exciting. Are there more gears, or is it just going to be those 2?
They've specifically, and in the demo that we saw, there was only 2 gears, and they've said time and again that this is the 2-gear system, and so I think they're just going to focus on that.
Okay.
And I think it's smart.
Yeah.
I mean, between all the weapons that you're going to be getting and these 2 gears, I mean, that's a good amount to consider.
And it sounds like that's pretty much the full focus. That they give you any like robot master abilities at all? Any of those weapons?
I mean, there were 2 bosses that you could beat. I did not get to mess around with those weapons in the time that we had.
Right.
But yeah, they're there. I want to go back and play this demo, and I want to get those.
And Ben, you know what I love
weapons.
about it is we talk all the time about like franchises coming back as smaller, downloadable titles. It's like, you know, if you're gonna bring Streets of Rage back, bring it back as a $20 like digital release.
Right.
This game feels modern,
Yes.
but it feels
Respectful.
retro and respectful. Like it's honoring the Mega Man legacy.
Yeah.
You know, a big but small in a way. Like
Right. And I think what makes a lot of Capcom games special to so many people are the very tiny touches that they add that add a tremendous layer of depth. And so like the power gear, for example, when you charge that up fully, you get 2 fully charged shots for 1 charge, basically. But if you do that, you knock yourself back a little bit. Yeah. And that could kill you if you're on the side of a platform and
Mega
it's like,
Man.
oh wait, that's just another little wrinkle that I have to
Inches
think
matter
about.
in
Yeah,
Mega Man.
yeah. And you
damn conveyor belts.
you talked about
really.
you talked about it feeling modern but familiar, and that makes me think about Mega Man 9 and 10. And Mega Man 9 and 10 are excellent games. I particularly think Mega Man 9 is one of the best traditional Mega Man games. And I loved it, and it did so much with the strength of its level design. But what's really impressing me about Mega Man 11 is I think that excellent level design is still there, but there's also so much that's new. It's not just using the levels, it's the very core of Mega Man that is different.
It is a sequel.
Yes, it is a sequel. Yes, it is not just pandering to your nostalgia. And I'm not saying Mega Man 9 was only that, but this feels like a real significant step forward for this franchise and for this character that so many people love.
And how different Fuse Man stage looked.
Yeah.
How different that vibe was.
Right. And something that they did in Blockman stage here that I thought was really cool. So we talked about that spinning plate guy that gave us some trouble, that demolished us.
Demolished me, yeah.
That's not the only time you see him in the stage.
Oh.
You get a round 2.
The round 2, man.
The round 2. You get through the round 1. You're like, okay, I've got this game. I'm figuring it out. I'm getting used to it. You have to do that exact same fight on a conveyor belt. And so the way that you do it, it's so good, because what you do is when you find that little opening where you're safe, because you're on a conveyor belt, you want to move. You want to be like, oh, am I safe? Am I going to do it? And you kind of have this panic attack. But the way to get through it is to stay calm and just do a jump without pressing any direction. Just do a little hop. So the momentum of the conveyor belt keeps you in the same spot, and if you overcorrect, like, you're your own worst enemy in that fight.
The PR contact and I were watching Ben on that fight, just like behind him, just like, because he got just like so calmly, just like jumping in this tiny little space of safety. It was awesome.
Yeah. And I think the last thing that should be talked about, I just played this demo on normal difficulty. I would really like to go back. There's a difficulty level above normal, and there's 2 below it.
Yeah.
And like, again, kind of referencing Mega Man 9, which is a game I love. Sometimes if somebody came up to me and they're like, hey, should I go play Mega Man 9 right now? I would have to say, like, are you up for a challenge?
Yeah. No doubt.
But with Mega Man 11...
Oh, he's like doing a different style than you. I liked your jumping style, Ben.
What style is he doing?
He's like kind of just like nudging.
Oh yeah, that works too. Yeah. But again, like, not overcorrecting.
Yeah.
Just being very smart about that space. Yeah, I was doing the jumping without pressing a direction. Because there are 4 different difficulty levels, I feel like they are trying to think about everyone in a really smart way, where I could confidently say, like, hey, if this is your first Mega Man, you'll be fine. There are difficulty levels where you'll be totally safe, and you'll get to mess around with mechanics in a cool way.
That's a sweet one up.
And I think it
Yeah,
had to do
it
with
is.
respawns. Like on the easiest mode, I think when you die, you just like come back.
Well, she said checkpoints.
Yeah.
And on normal, the checkpoints were brutal.
Punishing.
Like I made a ton of progress, died, and I was like, oh, you're taking me all the way back there. And they're saying on lower difficulty levels that you're going to get much more frequent checkpoints, which I think is a smart way to do that.
Very smart. Because, you know, people that are intimidated, people that want to play this game but don't have time to commit and grind, you know, I go back to like Super Ghouls and Ghosts. It's like, you know, you want to get through this game, like you kind of have to grind it out and just keep trying and playing. So I think that is really smart, catering to everyone.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
all about
but
options.
It's accessibility without losing the depth, and I think that is so important.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
My stock for Mega Man 11 went up big time.
It's so good. I need to go back to that booth and play more. I need to go back to that booth and play more.
All right, we talked out on Mega Man.
We're talking about Mega Man. We're talking about Mega Man.
It's great. It is great.
Were you want to get up here? Or?
What do we got?
Forza Horizon 4.
Why not?
I'll let.
Is this the last game?
This is the last game.
Might as well
Write it out.
stick it out. Yeah.
Just waiting for that beautiful footage to start rolling. So this is kind of a two-parter for me. Right after the Xbox showcase, I was able to do this demo and actually get to play the game. But Forza demos, they tend to be really quick. They tend to just like give you like the briefest flash of the game, and then all right, you're done. That was it. And then behind closed doors, they go into more detail. So this demo that I got to play, it just really quickly takes you through the 4 seasons. You pick a starter car, but then like as you get to each season, it like jumps you into a different car each time. And look, as you can see, like this is gameplay. This is gorgeous. Like it's kind of ridiculous that this is running on an Xbox One X. It's like holy cow.
Yeah.
So I'm watching Daniel Bloodworth playing Forza Horizon 4 right now.
This is my run through right here.
That is good vibes, Bloodworth, behind the wheel. Heck yeah.
Yeah, and I switch back and forth here a bit between first person and cockpit view.
Blood, one of my favorite things to talk to you about racing games is your love for the cockpit view. How is this cockpit view in relation to other cockpit views?
Cockpit view, right on cue.
I mean, yeah, I love it. I mean, Forza Horizon is getting pretty close to being one of my, you know, if not my favorite, one of my favorite racing series. You know, and
It's gonna be my favorite after this.
yeah, look at the sheep. Look at the sheep. But it's just like it's that nice mix of like you've got like realistic and deep handling controls, but then you also like you can do that. You know, you can bounce into the back of this big old truck and then just keep going.
And this is AI. I'm not seeing gamer tags, right? These are just other.
These are AI in this case, yeah. And I'll get to kind of how some of that works as well. But yeah, it's just got that nice realistic feel. But then it lets the leash off. It lets you do crazy things. It lets you smash through stone walls, and that feels really good. By the way, you'll see that here in a little bit later. Yeah, so we'll let this keep going. But I talked to them today. Oh, a Song of Ice and Fire. You saw that?
I'm sorry, it's been a long day. I was not prepared for that. Okay.
It's a nod.
I forgot.
Forza puns. It's a new one on me. Please continue.
So we're in snow now. Talking to Playground today, they talked about this being one of the like biggest paradigm shifts for them since they started working on this series. The two of the biggest things, like they were talking about, is the seasons, as well as the location and being in Britain and them being from Britain. It just made them feel like, number one, it was the perfect thing to do with seasons because Britain is a very seasonal country. And then number two, it just really like pushed them like to be as authentic as they could possibly be. and they talked about there's like this cottage kind of down the road that they used for a lot of samples, and like the owners just had to get used to them coming back like multiple times out of the year and taking a bunch of photos and stuff and like getting color information and all of that off of this one cottage down the road from them. They also said that they were even going out and taking audio recordings during the different seasons.
Wow.
And making sure that each season sounds different. Spring with the rain and everything.
Hear those birds.
Yeah, and the bird sounds way different than winter, where the leaves are off of the trees and the sticks are just rattling on each other. And this here's a showcase event, so I did try to say, like, hey, we're gonna play as motorcycles, and like, no, it's just like one of the things that you race against here is this team of stunt bikes, basically.
The smoke.
It blows me away
The
how
colors are-
good video games look right now.
These colors are
My
popping.
God.
Those lasers when you went through that festival were really impressive.
God.
And then they were talking too. I guess the seasons thing, is something that they've been working on behind the scenes for a while. Like they've been wanting to do this, and like finally, this was the time where their tech team was like, "Hey, like it works. We've got this working." So they're definitely very very hyped on this. Spring has lots of rain. There's ice, snow, mud. Lots of different services. They talk like hundreds of different services, and they all not only affect handling from like the basic like, oh, this is slippery, but they all affect your tire temperature. Your tire temperature interacts with the ground that you're driving on, and that changes the grip and everything there.
How do human beings make this?
I don't know, Ben. I'm in awe, dude. E3, like,
It's a good thing to remember, Ben, that for all the griping that we do,
human
for all
beings.
the heavy expectations that we have for this stuff, we don't know we would know the first thing about trying to put something like this together.
Right.
I feel like it would take an entire lifetime to make a single tree.
Yeah.
Right.
Mind-blowing.
So and then
Wait, can you ride the motorcycles, Blood
no,
Rush?
that's what I just said.
Okay.
They're an opponent. They're
Sorry.
not something that you get to do.
Like-
There's like 450 cars. Though.
Okay.
The HDR is getting to him.
Sorry.
Well, this is an HDR on this TV.
I just.
But yeah. So in terms of how the seasons work, though, I find this really fascinating. Seasons are a week long.
Oh.
That is so.
So
rad.
everybody in the world is in the same season, at the same time. You can go and watch the same sunset as everybody else.
Wow.
All the servers are synced up. And I guess part of the way they do it too is if like you happen to go offline, the system clock like is also going to update at the right time as well. So like they somehow
The
programmed in
Shenmue
advance.
magical weather system.
On top of that,
We got there.
you won't just be repeating the same thing all the time. Every time you get to the next winter, they're going to be adding new winter events.
Wow.
So like every month, you're going to get a refresh of new races and new events, new things to look forward to.
Bloodworth, if a season is a week, did they mention how long a day in
Yeah,
game
that was
is?
my next question.
No, I don't think we got to that because I think the day and night cycle is probably going to be more like it was in the past. But it is going to be synced up. I do know that much. Again, they said like if you're looking at a sunset, somebody else anywhere else in the world is going to be looking at that same
That's
sunset.
cool.
They talked about part of this is living the
First
Horizon
wave.
life. So they talked about like, because they're seasons, because it's a year-long thing, like you're gonna go to this place, you're gonna have a house. It sounds almost like maybe you pick a house.
Yes.
There's like different player housing to get into.
housing.
I want to see more of that. They didn't really like walk us around a house or anything.
Yeah, because we saw that person in the trailer like come out of the house at that one point.
Yeah,
So
Exactly. So
Yeah.
they've got a lot of houses in there. They do say like, when you're playing the game, by default, it's meant to be an online experience. But they know that there's roadblocks for people for that. They know that makes people apprehensive, that they don't want some of that. So you can go solo mode at any time. You can switch all of those people off,
Great.
and they'll turn into drivatars just like in past games.
Great.
But there's so that also helps to like you don't have to worry about losing your connection. You know, like if your connection somehow goes out, you don't get booted out of the game back to a main menu. You just keep driving, and you're just driving with AI until it comes back.
So you can play offline.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can play as all completely offline.
Cool.
But what's cool though is when you are playing online, they have an auto ghosting feature. So if that person, if the other people out there aren't your friends in your party, they can't collide with you. They can't grief you. They can't knock you off the road. They can't be just like standing in the middle of the road and you coming down trying to hit a speed trap and then, oh, I just ran into that dummy who's, you know, left himself there and walked away to get a sandwich. You know, I mean, that's what happens when
Enjoy
you have
your sandwich, dummy.
Someone knocks on your door.
That draw distance, look at that.
You know, and they talked about that also allows you to do things that you normally can't do in online connected games, like pausing, like taking photos and all of that. I did ask them with the seasons, like whether there's any kind of transitional phase, and they said no, like it will be a hard cut because they just wanted to like focus in on like what is the best about the season. You know, you don't want to get into these like weird, like slushy but not really snowy moments. Yeah.
Educate me, Bloodworth. I am very unfamiliar with the Horizon games. You know, have not put a lot of time into them. I remember one of them was like, it was the Horizon event, and it was kind of the
festival is still in the center of all this.
Okay.
You can see probably, you can see the wristband there on the left hand.
And the lasers, we go by it.
Yeah.
When we get to,
but is the goal, like, is there a story in terms of, like, you need to prove yourself to the event, or is it just like, hey, we're having fun out here just driving around?
There's definitely going to be some of that. There is still a progression system. I don't know, like, exactly how it's all going to be presented because they say that you can become a superstar not just by doing races and events. You can become a superstar by exploring the world. You can become a superstar just by like painting cars and putting a lot of paint jobs out there for the community. Or there's normal self-promotion. If you stream via Mixer and you're streaming all the time through Mixer, that adds to your progression points and your XP to become a superstar.
I want to start a petition for Bloodworth to host a Horizon event. Get him on the radio.
Yeah. Seriously.
So they also talked about like having, they showed this a little bit in the trailer. There's like a quick chat that you can do on the D-pad, like old school Phantasy Star Online style.
Yeah. I'm on Mixer.
That was one of the
yeah.
Well, now I'm jealous of that person because they're getting that XP.
Exactly.
Right.
Ben, you played some of Forza Horizon 3, right?
I did, yeah.
You remember the blueprint system where you could go blueprint system where you could go up to an event and you could change it, you could modify it, you could like say, hey, drive to this point, and like that you set it all your parameters. To that blueprint system, they are actually creating a legit course creator.
Oh,
so you can set the checkpoints. So like you go down this road, hit a checkpoint there, put a checkpoint there, make your full lap, whatever.
Sure.
So like you can really like make your own tracks in this world. Like obviously you're not going to be altering terrain, but set a course that feels good to you in the world that they're giving you. And one of the things that I think they mentioned at E3 at the press conference was like, when it gets to like winter, like lakes freeze over.
That was the most interesting thing to me.
Yeah,
So cool.
and so like you can go places you couldn't go because you can go across frozen lakes and rivers.
And the idea
I hope
that a
that's
season
meaningful.
is a week too.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, better go exploring during this season. That's so cool.
When you get Forza, some iteration of Forza every year, whether when you're alternating between Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon, I think you kind of reach this expectation of like, they're gonna add some stuff, but it's mostly gonna be the same. Like everything that you're talking about feels so significant. It's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason they got bought, right?
Yeah.
And they did touch on that a little bit too, and they're saying like day to day, it's probably not gonna make much difference to them, everyone working in the studio, but just like high level kind of thing, like.
Bloodworth.
Yeah. And that other project that they've been working on that people have been talking about.
You love this franchise. You love racing games. What to you is the most significant addition or change to this specific Forza? What has you the most excited?
I mean, it's really not the most significant thing in the world, but man, I really love that Forza Horizon is finally 60 frames per second.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Spoken like a true professional.
Yes. That's the answer.
Like, they got kind of halfway there with the PC version of 3, but now that, like, yeah, like, I've got an Xbox One X, and, like, I can play this game in full 60
Flex
frames.
it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, flex it.
Flex.
This looks so much fun.
Yeah. It's gonna be good, and that's pretty much all I got to say. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all comes together in the end. But like they've done so well in the past already, and to push themselves, like I don't really have any doubts about this game.
You're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I'm in. I don't have an X though, so I won't be able to flex it.
With Forza Horizon 3, and I didn't really play 2 that much, but with Forza Horizon 1 and Forza Horizon 3, it was games that came out at the time, and I was like, man, I really love this, but I got sidetracked by work stuff, and I didn't ever get to fully commit to Forza Horizon. Like, I have to. Like, I clear the table.
Clear the deck.
Xbox One X, flex it, Forza Horizon 4, let's go. Commit to Forza Horizon 4.
Weekly races.
Weekly races, yeah! With featuring Daniel Bloodworth.
So
Yes.
So we've got one more thing to do. We've got a sweetest moment for today.
So we've done the sweetest moment, brought to you by our E3 sponsor, Sweet Justice.
Yes.
Sweetjustice.audio. You can check out their wonderful work on a lot of games. That the tough part is, Sweet Justice works on a lot of games they can't talk about yet. Stuff gets announced,
Sure.
and then I'll get a little sneaky email from Sweet Justice like, doop, that's one of ours. So we might have more fun announcements of some stuff. They do work on trailers. They work on audio implementation for games. I'm sure they got their hands in all sorts of fun stuff. And we got the Christmas card, have Batman and Cuphead and a lot of fun stuff on from Sweet Justice. We picked a sweetest moment from all of the press conferences, but now at the end of day 1, and we will be doing this again for Wednesday, day 2, and Thursday, day 3, we have a whole day of press conferences. And obviously, there were things we saw today that we haven't talked about. There's things I saw at Judges Week we haven't talked about. But we just went through a bunch of games for our day 1 deliberations. From those, break out the list, Blood. It is upon us,
list?
the 5 remaining allies who have not passed out yet or are not on their way driving home.
True fans.
Out of Sekiro, Resident Evil 2, Cyberpunk 2077, Spider-Man, Control, and Forza Horizon 4, and Mega Man 11.
So
Cyberpunk was so good.
obviously on
Cyberpunk sounded like a dream.
And like none of us saw it, man. I mean, it was just a 45 minutes of
Or you guys are gonna
nonstop
see it tomorrow.
goodness.
Yeah,
But
I'm
yeah.
seeing it tomorrow.
I'm biased. So I'm
mean-
saying Resident Evil 2.
Oh, but that RE2, my heart was pumping.
Oh, yeah.
Resident Evil 2 Remake is eternally sweet.
Like, but also, Spider-Man is absurd. It is absurdly good.
I'm like, come on.
And with Control, yeah.
Hey.
Oh boy, we all were made
I'm a very like
The Blue Bomber
so
is back!
I've got a thing with Cyberpunk, but I feel like with more people tomorrow, like I've got a better shot at that when people actually see this stuff.
I mean, I've seen
Control, we had like a fun like friends moment.
It was a big surprise too.
The stars aligned, and it was a big surprise. We all got to see it. when
Control
only
was like a
humor was
religious
scheduled.
I mean, it's not the sweetest moment, but I had a pretty sweet moment of improvisation today because with the new security at E3, one of my appointments, the developer couldn't get himself into the show because he couldn't bring his backpack and his laptop into the show with his game. So we sat on the steps of the Staples Center and I played his game.
Nice.
Wow, E3 making the moments happen.
I kind of have the tipping point for Resident Evil 2. We're going in, Ben and I, and we like go through the haunted house part with our flashlights.
Getting jumped by zombies.
Zombies are popping out. We're freaking out. We go in. We go in the back. There's like the press computers there, and she goes, "Yeah, we only have one station." He's playing. Ben is just like him. Of
course.
Just go. So I thought personally that was just loving and sweet for my main man Ben here.
If I didn't respond that way, I should be banished to the deepest layers of hell. Do not keep, if there is one station, you give your life for Michael Huber.
Also, Huber sitting there and crying quietly to himself before playing Resident Evil 2. Resident
You
Evil
didn't want me to
2.
tell
Oh,
that.
Ian's doing it. All right.
Resident Evil 2.
Seeing the dreams come true, finally. That is a pretty sweet moment. And then thank you to Sweet Justice for being our E3 sponsor. Thank you to everybody that has not only been watching the events this evening, staying with us through our various breaks, and watching literally allies dropping one by one. I'm finally going to put all of these boys in their cars, go home, and then we're going to get up tomorrow morning, do day 2.
In a couple hours.
In which we will be checking out, it's tomorrow, in which we will be checking out even more games, coming back here, talking about even more games.
Get some
Brandon,
hints of what else we're going to be looking
I
at.
hope we did a good job because I'm so tired. I don't even know what I said.
I have no idea, like, if I made any sense tonight.
I'm going to
Speaking in
Ubisoft,
tongues.
so we'll be able to. Well, we'll probably save the Ubisoft discussion for Thursday when you and Huber go, because you guys are going to be there for a long time.
Yeah, we got a stacked Ubisoft block.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 bing.
Well, some of us are seeing Team Sonic Racing. You
Which
guys
I
are
played
going
at
to
Judges Week,
Bethesda and
that I can
Bandai
talk about as
Namco.
well.
What are you excited for right now?
I'm waking up for Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah.
It is my alarm. My burning soul will get me out of bed.
So
Geralt
Yoshimitsu
awaits.
scream
Yeah.
wakes you up.
No, just Yoshimitsu spinning on my bed.
When I was filming Syndrome today, I was like talking, I was having not a debate, but a discussion, and it's like, yo, Blood, maybe you can clear this up. Geralt aficionado. If he's fighting Yoshimitsu, would he use the steel sword or the silver sword? Is Yoshimitsu a monster?
I don't know.
Like, which sword are we using on Yoshimitsu? We couldn't come to a
Probably
conclusion.
silver, but yeah.
I was still leaning towards
Yeah.
silver.
You use silver, and then Yoshimitsu is upset. He's hurt.
Huber, you know what you're
Pull
seeing
steel
tomorrow?
out for respect.
The Hitman 2, bright and
Oh
early,
man, I'm so jealous.
10 a.m. assassinations. Yes.
And then
very jealous.
after that,
Coffee and assassinations.
after that, he's going to the awesome adventures of Captain Spirit.
Yeah.
That's appearing.
So that's going to wrap it up for us for day 1 of E3 2018, the actual day 1 of the event. Thank you again so much. We invite you, if you got a chance, if you're not too tired like we are, go check out our YouTube channel where a lot of the stuff is archived if you possibly missed anything. Subscribe to us on Twitch if you get an opportunity, but go to patreon.com/easyallies because that is where we get our main amount of funding that makes all of this glorious stuff happen. And it's not over. We still have 2 crazy full days. We're going to be handing out awards next Tuesday night at our group stream. We're going to be doing an episode of Trailer Jones next week. We're going to be talking about our favorite trailers and scoring them. And most importantly, we're going to be going to bed very soon. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
We'd like to thank our E3 sponsor, Sweet Justice, a sound design company from the southern shores of the UK. They've worked on some of the biggest AAA titles, the most refreshing indie titles, and collaborated with the best development teams in the world. Thank you for joining us for this year's E3 celebration. We're thrilled to bring you our reactions and analysis of all the big announcements, as well as impressions from as many games as we can get our hands on at the show. If this is your first time tuning in, Easy Allies is an independent group of experienced writers and producers covering games and having fun in a variety of ways. We make a range of reviews, previews, podcasts, shows, and other surprises that you can find either at youtube.com/easyallies or here on Twitch. You can also check easyallies.com to find our full schedule, current shows, reviews, and more. All of this is made possible through the support of fans just like you. If you enjoy this week's coverage or any of our other content, consider stopping by patreon.com/easyallies and becoming a monthly patron. For just $1 a month, you can gain access to exclusive videos, and there are a number of other rewards from early access to community interaction if you can give more. Whether you're able to support us financially or just want to hang out, thank you for being here with us for the most exciting week of the year.